You're listening to an archived Cabral Concept podcast. After listening to this show, check out the most up-to-date podcasts available at stephencabral.com/podcasts or search directly on iTunes. And now, welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
So much to cover, so I do want to get right into it, but I hope you've been having an amazing week. I actually just got back from Texas, my last travel of 2018. I'm excited about that because now, right around the corner here, we have the holidays. It's really my favorite time of the year. Although the weather in Boston is exceptionally cold right now. It's literally brutal. I got back just yesterday from the airport, and the real feel was 18 degrees, so completely insane. The only saving grace there was I was on, actually just popped on Instagram on my Uber ride home, and I saw that one of my buddies up in Canada already got snow. So I'm like, at least we don't have snow. But, exceptionally cold this time of the year. It is good to be back. It's good to be done with my travel. Of course, I do love my travel. I love being able to speak to audiences and people, anywhere in the world. But it's always nice to come home and see your family and get to have a little downtime. So that's what I did yesterday afternoon and last night. Really fun. And now back in the office, wanting to share with you everything we have going on over this past week. Some research, podcasts I was interviewed on, a new book that I want to recommend for children's recipes, and of course, our super nutrient of the week. So let's get started. My first just kind of what's been going on in the practice, what I just want to share with you is that IHP now is officially closed. So everyone asking, we did sell out once again. I believe it was in 3 days, 72 hours. I'm always excited to see the excitement around that because, honestly, we're not a marketing company. We don't want to ever really push people to join. We want people that are ready to begin to learn how to teach themselves how to heal, potentially themselves, and then, of course, how to heal others. So a lot of practitioners that are already personal trainers, yoga instructors, doctors, chiropractors, acupuncturists, nurses, health coaches, you name it, inside of the group. And then there are those who are not yet a health coach and they want to discover how to learn more about health coaching and become one themselves. So, really, I love the group, love the practice, and so excited to have those people in the group. If you're not a member of the Integrative Health Practitioner organization, our community, please just check it out at integrativehealthpractitioner.org. If you are interested, there's a waiting list there. If you'd like to sign up, you're welcome to. You'll be first to know when we open next. So that's that. With that, I'm excited. We're going to be doing our next live call coming up soon. And what else do I have? Just one more thing that I wanted to share with you because I do want to get right into my research and my recommendations for the week. And that is this. It's that we are now shipping to 20 countries. People are loving it. They're very excited, which is great. Just want to mention for our Australian friends, shipping over there is now getting to you in about 4 days. But keep in mind, we don't control customs over there. So that's the issue. Every once in a while, probably like 1 out of 20, it's only like 1 out of 20, but it's still 1 out of 20 packages will be in customs, and they'll, just obviously you'll have to work with them just to make sure that you can get your product in a timely manner. And usually it's no more than 8 days to 10 days total maximum. So again, we're always working on that. We're going to continue to improve, but we're the first ones to do this. So I just want you to know that whenever you're the first one to do things, there's always the headache of having to do it for everyone, but the end result, I believe, is always worth it. So we're the very first people to open up a virtual functional medicine practice all over the world. No one else has ever done this before, so there's no playbook. So when we are, asking people to ship things back, we have our community group, cabralsupportgroup.com. And people are finding that FedEx is the easiest way to ship things back from Australia and other countries. We are also now working on actually setting up our business as an Australian-based business entity so that we'll have an easier time than moving things through customs. So I just want you to know, we are working on this on a daily basis, and that's because we want to provide the best service in the world in terms of functional medicine. and no one else is doing it. There's no way for people in Australia to get these labs. In Europe as well. So that's why we are able to, yes, but we're working very hard every day. I mean, I have a full team that just works on shipping and logistics. And then we have a whole fulfillment center that just works on shipping and logistics, and they're the biggest in the world. So just know, in my opinion, that the end result is always worth it. You'll always, of course, you'll get it just your package within anywhere from 5 to 10 days. Some people 8 to 10 days. If customs hold it just for a couple more days to just process it, whatever they do over there in customs, I don't know. We don't control that part of it. But yeah, that's that. So, I mean, things are going really actually smoothly overall. For the most part, 95 out of 100 packages arrive easily, very smoothly. For those that don't, it just takes a couple extra days, that's all. Now you get to have these labs that were only available really within the United States, ship them now to 20 different countries. I personally read your lab results and I make your recommendations. You speak with one of my health coaches over Skype. It's a seamless based thing that we are now creating within our practice. And since we're so busy, we're going to be also teaching our integrative health practitioners how to do that. And they will also be able to help you as well. So pretty amazing. We have so much planned, really, especially for Europe and Australia. I will be doing over at least, I would say 12 to 18 months maximum. I'll be doing events over in Europe and in Australia. We will have our own, most likely, fulfillment house in both Europe and Australia. So packages will get there within 2 to 3 days. This is a year from now or so. But, we'll be doing all of these things. It's just one step at a time. And that's the way that it is. We are a functional medicine practice first. We're not a big business marketing-based company. So, hang with us. We'll hang with you. We'll make sure that we get it all done. That's all I have to say on that. All right, next up is a great book. I literally just got into my office this morning. Long trips, lots of travel over the past. I've explained my travel schedule with you, but basically from September to right before Thanksgiving here in the U.S., I'm traveling a couple times a month. I'm speaking, meeting with groups. Every once in a while, I still attend a conference. I don't do it as much anymore because I'm speaking more than I'm actually in the conference. But of course, when I'm at a conference, I'm there learning and listening and all of those great things. But anyway, I got back today. Was excited to just get back into my office. I get in my office super early in the morning, especially today. And I had a bunch of packages. And so I just opened them up quick as I was kind of easing into my morning. And I saw a couple books, and one of them was written by one of our just people in our community, in our health community at cabralsupportgroup.com and on Instagram and all those great things. And her name is Lindsay Emilian, and I hope that I'm pronouncing that correctly. I'm the worst with names, but I know that Lindsay is at least correct. Emilian may not be. But Lindsay is a certified holistic nutritionist, and she wrote a book called Pure Food Project for Kids. And it is a children's basically recipe book. And it's full color photos on every right-hand page, which I thought was really great. So not only, it's hard to have a recipe book without the photos. Well, this is divided into threes. So basically she uses this plate for her children. She has 2 children, one newborn, it looks like, or at least baby, and one, if I can remember, my knowledge serves me correctly, somewhere around 6 years old or so. We'll say around 6. No, 3-year-old. Okay, 3-year-old. And so Lindsay's in it. She's a mom. She's trying to eat healthy herself. She's making food for her children. And there's some great recipes in here. So if you're interested in children's recipes, we have a bunch of recipes at cabralsupportgroup.com. It's our free Facebook group. You just head on over there, you type in recipe, and a bunch of recipes will pop up. Let's say you want some children-specific recipes. This is a great book for that. So check it out. It's called Pure Food Project for Kids. I'm going to link it up today. I've got a bunch of research and links today. So instead of you remembering everything, just head on over to stephencabral.com/1015. stephencabral.com/1015. And you can check out Lindsay's link there as well. Congrats, Lindsay, on the publishing of this book. It looks great. It's full color, and happy to see you're promoting overall great health. Happy to see the all the great products and everything that you have in there as well. So keep up the great work. Next up is a podcast by Josiah, and his podcast is actually called the True Transformation Podcast. I was on that just about a week ago. We had a great conversation, great talk. We connected, right away, I would say. I typically, before I'm on a podcast, we just chat for like 5 minutes before we get started. And Josiah and I had a great conversation, really connected. Like, he's deep in the fitness industry. He knows the stuff about nutrition and health exercise. So once I mispronounced his name and we had a little laugh over it, I called him Hasaya, not Josiah. We had a great conversation, and I was excited to be able to be on his show, and I'm looking forward to, we're going to do a part 2 in the future on lab testing. But on this episode, we spoke about tips, really ways to live longer. And he was asking for like, okay, well, what are some clear delineated ways that people can live a longer, healthier life, which is what I'm all about. My practice right now, we go a lot into wellness and we go a lot into body transformation and weight loss and nutrition, all those things. But it's going to continue in the future to really get deep into anti-aging. And because that is something that I believe, I'll give you in your 20s and 30s to kind of figure out, your life, figure out your thing. And then once you get into your 40s, I believe that people should be really focused then on, you can do it before that. That would be phenomenal. But you have to focus then on living longer at that moment, not when you get to your 60s and 70s. You still do it without a doubt, and you can reverse a lot of that aging process. But if you can do it then, I'm telling you, it's going to be so much easier to maintain. So great podcast. I'm going to link it up right at stephencabral.com/1015. Thank you, Josiah, for having me on. Great podcast. Check it out. All right. One more thing before we get into our super nutrient of the week. I went over this on episode 994. I want you to check out that show. That was a research-based show as well. So that was episode 994. Check that out. Now, the reason I say that is this is a second follow-up, the second one in a month now, on showing how taking a baby aspirin a day, which a huge amount of the population, hundreds of thousands of people in the population take a baby aspirin, and they're told to do it by their MD, who is basically just told by what? Aspirin companies to recommend that. Well, the research is really showing massive research. We're looking at over 30,000 people in this study. Okay, I want to read it to you, okay? So that I don't mix words, so that it's not just my advice. I want to read this to you, okay? This is Erin Mykos. She's a medical doctor. This isn't her review. This is the study's review, but she published it, so I always give credit where credit is due. So let's go into it. This is exactly it. A number of recent studies conducted at major medical institutions have confirmed that most healthy people without known heart disease should not be taking daily aspirin to prevent heart attacks. The ARRIVE, so the trial's name is ARRIVE in all capitals, looked at more than 12,500 men, 55 and older, and women age 60 and older, who are at moderate risk for heart attack, while the Aspirin, meaning like aspirin, Aspirin study included more than 19,000 healthy, low-risk adults over 65. Both studies were designed to determine whether a daily low-dose aspirin, so baby aspirin, low dose, would prevent a first heart attack or stroke. Not only did the low aspirin not reduce the risk in either study, it increased the risk for major gastrointestinal bleeding. Even more alarming, in the Aspirin, the group randomly assigned to take an aspirin a day experienced more deaths from cancer. Important, aspirin still is recommended for patients who have had a heart attack already to prevent a second one. But if you're healthy and popping a daily aspirin, my advice is to ask your doctor about stopping your aspirin. So that's a direct from Dr. Mykos. I hope I'm pronouncing her name correctly. I'm sure I'm not. And so it's Micos, but remember, it's not even her study. So remember, the study is the ARRIVE study and the Aspirin study, and that's Aspree. If you want to look them up, you're welcome to. As always, I do recommend continuing your education. Let the Cabral concept get you started and continue on with your education. Here's the deal. This is what I've been recommending for over a decade, is you do not take things that you do not need. You don't take aspirin if you don't need it, right? That means if you haven't already had a heart attack, no need to take aspirin. I still wouldn't. If I had a heart attack, I still wouldn't take aspirin, but that's me. Remember, I'm not diagnosing, curing, or treating disease. That's not what I do in my profession. Only licensed medical doctors could ever diagnose, treat, and cure disease. And I do that in air quotes for them as well, because I don't know how they would do that. But anyway, we'll let the medical profession pretend that they're diagnosing, curing, and treating disease when we're talking about symptoms. But anyway, that's a different show for another day. So, the truth is this, is that your body is not lacking aspirin, right? Like you didn't have a heart attack because you didn't have enough aspirin in your system, which is essentially a blood thinner. But the problem with aspirin is that it's not natural. And so if you're not using a natural blood thinner, well, it could cause what? Cancer. Sure, that makes sense. Could cause internal bleeding, could cause GI bleeding. None of these things are good at all. So again, do your homework, always decide what's best for your body, but you've seen it right here. If you're taking a baby aspirin every day to prevent a heart attack, it's going to backfire on you most likely. All right, great research study. Love showing those specific things. And then let's now move on to our super nutrient of the week. Now we're getting close to finishing out 2018. I said every week in 2018, I would bring you one new super nutrient of the week. And so I went through and I said, have I missed any vitamins? And it looks like I've covered all. And I said, have I missed any of the major minerals? And it looks like I haven't missed any of them. So instead of going over things like nickel, which you don't really need to know about, I want you to know about nutrients that actually do serve your body. So I'm going to go over a specific herb. You can look at it as an herb or fruit. It's just most people don't eat it on their own. They get it in a powdered form. So I'm basically bringing you supplements. Super nutrient of the week would be a supplement that you could add to your daily repertoire. Like even when I talked about ginger. So when I talked about ginger is still basically a supplement. I went over that on 1026. So that would have been, let's see, ginger's episode would have been 1026. I have it all right here. Oh, that would have been 994 as well. So check out that show, 994 today. I do recommend going back to that episode. Apparently there was a lot of coincidental good research and information on that show. So, people use ginger. Why do they use ginger? Well, they use it as a digestive aid and they use it as a nice anti-inflammatory. And typically you're taking it as a tea. A lot of people don't think this, but like a tea is a supplement. You're supplementing anything that you eat. So your eating is your diet, is your nutrition. And then on top of that, herbs and spices are actually supplements. And people are like, no, that's food. Well, yeah, of course. But so is a capsule. Like a capsule of, let's say, what I'm going to talk about today, our super nutrient of the week is acerola berry. That is also a food, but it's been encapsulated. And you can use it for various reasons. So I want us to start to think of all natural supplements, not aspirin, as condensed food or condensed nutrients. Aspirin is not condensed food or condensed nutrients. It's not. It's aspirin. Now you could say, oh, well, before it came from white willow bark and these types of things. Well, no. I mean, yes, you could say it's an extract of that, but patented in a laboratory. If you want to use white willow bark, use white willow bark, but you're not going to use aspirin, which is more like a Tylenol anyways. But anyway, that's a discussion again for another day. So what I'm saying to you is that anything besides our food, if we're using herbs, those are also supplements. But that's a good thing. That's not a bad thing at all. We know that herbs are our medicine. That's part of our medicine. We were given that. We were given fruit and vegetables and all this, great food on earth to eat. And we were given the leaves and stems and some of the fruit as things that we wouldn't necessarily eat because of its bitterness, or in the case of acerola berry, it's a stringent taste, but we can use them actually as supplements for a healthy body. So let's go over that right now. Acerola berry, this is something that I've loved for quite some time. I actually had never heard of acerola berry before until I started studying natural-based medicine, orthomolecular-based medicine, mixed with herbal studies. And I did this, even before I went back, got my degree. What I was looking for was saying like, okay, I've seen this thing called vitamin C be really healthy, but like, what's the best form of it? Is it ascorbic acid? Is it calcium ascorbate? Is it acerola berry? Is it camu camu? Is it, like you go through down the line. And rose hips, all the extra bioflavonoids and antioxidant-based synergies. Well, that's what I eventually found, is that typically in life, synergies work best. So I don't love loading up on one, like people love loading up on B12, like a huge amount. And that might work, and that might actually be beneficial for a period of about 12 weeks to maybe 16 weeks. Really load up those red blood cells with B12, methylcobalamin, adenosylcobalamin, great. But not for a huge period of time. So I believe in orthomolecular medicine, which is kind of like higher dose nutritional supplements. And I've taught this in the IHP program certification. But I don't believe in it for a long period of time because your body may have been lacking something. So sure, fill up those stores, but then maintain, not at that mega dose. So I'm a huge believer in getting your vitamin C from whole food and from some nutritional supplements because, again, in my book, The Rain Barrel Effect, and in IHP, I talk about how there's almost 20% less vitamin C in the soil now. So no matter what, even if you're eating the best organic foods, you're getting about 20% less vitamin C. Now, vitamin C is used for pretty much everything in the body. And here's why. Like, vitamin C is used as an antioxidant. But one of the more amazing things about vitamin C is this. Yes, it helps with detoxification, but it's a recycler of other antioxidants. It's a recycler of what makes glutathione. It's a recycler of vitamin E and selenium. So when we look at that, we say, okay, vitamin C, impressive. It keeps away scurvy and other things certainly that we wouldn't want. Okay, but not too many people have that in modern day society, okay? And even obviously in tribal base, because they're oftentimes a lot smarter than we are in the big cities, and that's because they've learned how to live with the land and in harmony with the land. And that's something that I look forward to one day, is actually taking a sabbatical from my practice, and nobody really knows this, but now I'm announcing it to many, many people, and living and really understanding and harmonizing with some of these tribal-based communities of how they live from the land and what they eat and what happens when someone gets sick in their tribe. And those are things that I would think would just be great to bring you on video and through podcasts. And so anyway, one day I'm looking forward to do that. No real rush on it, but that's something that I will be doing. And so here's the thing about acerola berry. It's extremely high in vitamin C, all right? It's called acerola berry or acerola cherry or West Indies cherry or just plain acerola. Now, it's an astringent, small little red, sometimes they're green, but small little berry. It looks like a cherry, but not quite. It almost looks like a little tiny habanero pepper, but in the shape of a cherry about that size, and it has an astringent quality. I've eaten many when I was over in India. They're fine. They don't taste like a cherry. They're not truly a cherry. They're not as sweet as that for sure. More of an astringent-based taste. So they're fine to eat. The problem with them is that they're literally rot so quickly. They go bad really quickly, like literally right on the plants. So people use them in India. They were actually using them for skin conditions as well, because anything that's astringent helps balance the pH of the skin. So acne, really great for that. Red marks on the skin. Vitamin C is fantastic for that. I've talked about that before for acne scars. So one of the things that we did in India and here in the U.S. is that we will freeze dry or we'll grind down or juice and then get just the powder from that, dehydrate the acerola berries. And the reason is that they're very high in mainly vitamin C. Okay, that's the reason you would use acerola berry. Yes, there is iron and calcium and B3, which is niacin, and riboflavin B2 and thiamine, which is B1, and some phosphorus. But you would mainly use it strictly for the vitamin C. And the reason is that it's not super high in those other nutrients that I just named. There's actually a little bit of beta-carotene, believe it or not. A lot of people don't know that, but there's some decent and very usable beta-carotene in the red acerola berries or cherries as well. So what is vitamin C good for? Well, what I would love for you to do is actually check out my show on vitamin C, because that's going to give you 10 minutes on just vitamin C. So let me find that show for you very quickly, and we will link that up. 3 types of vitamin C was done on February 9th, would have been 7:35. All right. So just go to stephencabral.com/735. I would love for you to understand what vitamin C does in your body. So please do check out that show. I go through the 3 different types of vitamin C, which is food-based, ascorbic acid, and then the buffered version, okay, of like who's right for who. So check that out, because there's always more than one answer. But we use vitamin C quite a bit in my practice for anybody with potential heart disease, right? So instead of using those aspirin, we'll be using vitamin C based on Linus Pauling's work and many, many thousands of years of Ayurvedic history. So atherosclerosis, blood clots, anybody, with potential family history of cancer, we'll use it for cancer-based support. But again, we're not treating, diagnosing, or curing any disease or cancer. Just have to say that. What do we use it for daily basis? Well, we're using it for anybody with viral-based issues, especially herpes or Epstein-Barr virus. We're using it for any type of gingivitis or gum disease. We're using it for people that do a decent amount of working out, or they're starting to get more wrinkles or thinner skin, because vitamin C helps with collagen. So we will use our advanced collagen support. You can check that out at Equilibrium Nutrition. Super popular product of ours called Advanced Collagen Support. And the reason why it's so popular is that we're using 3 patented products that no one else is using. So when you look at that, you say, okay, well, I thought you didn't believe in patents. I don't. And you're right. The extraction, though, is the patent. The product is not the patent. The extraction method, which means we have to use less animal-based products, which I'm a fan of. That's what I want to do. But you still get the collagen. I think it's like a third less protein and animal-based, but you get more absorption. So you get more absorption, less animal-based. So I love that. And so it works tremendously well. That's called Advanced Collagen Support. I will link that up today. I'll try to find that link for you. But we use it for that. We use it for regeneration. We use it for detoxification. And we use it for overall health. How do I use it? I personally use the Acerola berry in something called full spectrum vitamin C. And of course, I will link that up. That's a combination of kind of the best of herbal-based medicine with the Acerola fruit, and it is ascorbic acid together. So because you want a higher dosage of vitamin C, just so you get enough of it. Not high dose. We're not talking about a mega dose. We're talking about just a normal dose of it, right? And then you want the best of the whole food nutrition. So I'm going to give you a couple ways to take that. I take in a gram a day, so the full spectrum vitamin C, I take 2 capsules a day. One at lunch. I literally keep a bottle in my office, and I keep 1 bottle at home. So full spectrum vitamin C, I take 1 at lunch, 1 at dinner every single day. And then during the winter, I add additional vitamin C each day, and especially when traveling. Like, so when I was just on my trip, I couldn't be sick. I have to make sure that I stay healthy. Literally, this woman on the plane next to me yesterday, this is the worst when you're traveling, like especially on a big plane in public. I mean, the best way I can just begin to talk about it is blowing her nose and like inhaling all of the mucus, which was one of the grossest things that I've had to listen to for over 3 hours on my flight. And this was nonstop. And I feel bad. So I'm like saying, like, listen, she's sick, and so I was like understanding that, like, she obviously doesn't want to be this sick, but I'm next to her and I'm like, I don't want to get sick. I have to work. I have to do my recordings. I don't want to get my girls sick. Like, all of those things are running through my mind. So I was just like, nothing you can do. Relax. And then I just took more vitamin C. Like, that's how I look at it. So anyway, that's the best way to do it. Another way that you can use this Acerola berry is that it comes in powdered form. So I'm going to link up an organic company that I found, and they provide you with the powder. So if you want to add some to your morning smoothie, then that could be great as well, part of a fruit-based smoothie. So one of my recommendations is if you're starting with a powder, because you could use quite a bit, is to always start with a small amount. That would be a smart decision, because you want to make sure that it doesn't cause any nausea with you or anything like that. So just take about a half a teaspoon to a teaspoon maximum in your smoothie. You can always increase your dosage from there. Who wouldn't want to use Acerola berry? Well, really just if you need help with a specific health-based condition. So really, anyone who's prone to kidney stones or gout, you want to be a little bit more wary or leery with using higher dosages of vitamin C. But we're not talking about high dosages here. I'm talking about like a gram a day total of vitamin C. But still, it's something to look at, because a lot of vitamin C can increase your uric acid levels. And then, it's just my opinion, and this wouldn't go so much for Acerola berry, but for women that are pregnant or nursing, we just don't use herbs in our practice. We still use, of course, vitamins and minerals, but we don't use a lot of herbal-based products. I have no problem with the full spectrum vitamin C, but again, every woman should make her decision that's best for them. And the last would just be if you are on an anti-clotting medication, such as warfarin, and that is something that you need to speak with your doctor about, Coumadin or warfarin, and also a drug for schizophrenia. So if you are on I think it's flufenazine or proloxin, one of those. And again, I can't give you pharmaceutical-based advice. So I want to make sure, because my pronunciation isn't the greatest in the first place, is just make sure that if you are on an anti-schizophrenic-based drug, it's called an antipsychotic, and I believe the generic name is proloxin. So if you do want to check that out, you're welcome to. Again, always feel free to check with your PCP about these specific things. But I can tell you this, that vitamin C is one of those nutrients most people are missing at a functional level. They may not have scurvy, they may not have bleeding of the gums or anything like that, but I can tell you this, adding more vitamin C into your daily nutrition is one of the best things you can do for overall health. I'm a huge advocate. It's helped me stay healthy and really helped, I believe, with overall anti-aging and rejuvenation. So hopefully today's podcast was helpful. I will link everything up today at StephenCabral.com/1015. Thanks so much. Have an amazing weekend, and don't forget to tune in tomorrow for our Cabral House Calls, where we'll be answering our community's questions each and every weekend. Take care. Before you go, I wanted to ask you this question. What if I could teach you in just a couple of hours how to transform your thyroid, hormones, adrenal, cholesterol, blood pressure, blood sugar, weight loss, energy, mood, brain, pregnancy, anti-aging, or many other health-related issues? After 20 years in private practice, after seeing and overseeing 250,000 client appointments, I sincerely feel I have the real-world data and have found the answer you've been searching for. So what I've done is spent hundreds of hours of my own time refining what you need to know in order to uncover your underlying root cause health issues and then begin to rebalance the body and bring it back to a state of robust health and wellness. I'm going to teach you exactly what I do in my private practice so you can understand how you got here and now what you need to do in order to heal. You'll receive all of the important success checklists, protocols, and even ways to customize it to make the program fit your busy life. And you'll get all of this at a fraction of the price. Let me save you the time, money, energy, stress, and frustration of not knowing what to do next. Instead of reading dozens of books on the topic and seeing multiple practitioners, I will condense everything that you need to know in just a few hours of video tutorials that you can watch and listen to anywhere. Together, we will make this healing process an enjoyable one that you can take with you for the rest of your life. I wish you all of the best of health and happiness, and I hope to be able to guide you on your healing journey through my Health Results Accelerators. Simply choose the health imbalance you're currently suffering from, and by the end of today, you'll know what went wrong and how to get well again. I guarantee it. For details, head over now to stephencabral.com/courses.